Hello there. It is me, theminizilla, with a very special video because today I want to be celebrating something 10 months late, but still nonetheless celebrating it because I am now here to say that this YouTube career is my favorite thing I've done, and I will continue doing it. But to be first, I want to celebrate something special, and that was the beginning of my channel. Over 10 years ago, on January 18th, 2015, I started this YouTube channel, making a video called Brenderman Presents Brenderville, Episode 1, when I was called Brenderman Presents. Before, it was just not one word, but two. Two of those words were Brenderman, and then the last one was Presents. I used to be called Brenderman Presents on this entire YouTube channel. And now, 10 years later, I don't have the original intro I have. I've done my best at making all these cool, awesome videos I enjoy. 10 years ago, I made one video for the entirety of 2015. Then 2016 rolls around. I make a new video, one called Brenderman Presents. 3 words again. Mimpy Dreams. A long forgotten game. But then I rolled around. An entire 7-episode series on that. Then the Stanley Parable. All the way down to episode 5. This is what my intro used to sound like. I no longer sound like that. As of August 24th of this year, I turned 18 years old. For 2 years now, since March of 2023, I have been consistently making YouTube channels on this channel again. One day, I had the urge to remake this. I then got a video capture card. A video capture card that would be important for the most fundamental first series I would make after the first 2 Stanley Parable videos I made after coming back in March of 2023. Those would be the Hitman videos. The most influential games I have played on this channel have been all ones I've enjoyed. But for the past 2 years, I've been making this channel more and more me. Because before then, I had, not that many videos. I had all the way down to that first video I made when I was 7 years old in January 2015. I am 18 years old now, an adult. It was my choice to make this YouTube channel. And I said this in the past before about when I was making an on my streak of those original YouTube videos. It was Popular MMOs, Dan TDM, and Stampy that all inspired me. Stampy, Dan TDM, and Popular MMOs all stood out to me. What inspires me to continue is the fact that Popular MMOs has resilience and has gotten better. The fact that I can go watch people like RT Game, Aliens Rock, the Spiffing Brit, Real Civil Engineer, and other people that pour their heart and soul into this platform, not to get money out of it, but to do others. Because, there isn't this large thing of, greed from the channels I watch. I watch people that enjoy, that want to play Dungeons and Dragons, or just make their audience laugh. like RT Game, Rin Penrose, or others in that group, like Shenpai. But, to be more specific, the beauty of it all. Finding a video from 2 days ago when I found it that had less than 1,000 views from a channel that had 700 subscribers when I subscribed to them. This video has blown up with 9,000 views. One day, I want to be in that position where I make a piece of content that blows up. But that's for future me to worry about. I dedicate my craft into all of it. All of what I do is what I enjoy. And because of it, I am able to say truly within myself that this intro is long, but I don't care. There's something about all of it. And, well, here we are. Welcome to my YouTube channel, for those of you who are new, and for those who are old, long-time watchers. Please, like and subscribe, because this is the biggest project I have ever worked on in my channel's history, because we're going to commemorate the game that started it all, the game I always wanted to make a YouTube video on, from before I even started making YouTube. Welcome to the original Stanley Parable mod. By the way, all my videos are unedited.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor next to his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day. Stanley relished every moment of it with his kid, as though he had been made exactly for this. And Stanley... And then one day something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on a monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and walked out into the hallway.
In the game ending, where you go and look, at, Minecraft and Portal and the original, and in Ultra Deluxe, you go and see, the one where you're in the forest, that one. Firewatch and Rocket League. This game, you would see the office of this game there. This is why I chose this. Not only is it important to me, it is important to my history as a gamer. For a little bit more background on me, I am autistic, ADHD, dyslexic, and have anxiety disorder, and I'm still figuring out about my brain because I also have several sleeping disorders. Yay, my life is still fun. But also, my brain developed fast at a young age, and it also helped that, the fact that in that original video, you could hear someone named Brender Dad. That was my dad. My actual dad that made that first video with me. But that is besides the point. When I was 1, he put a Wii remote in my hand, taught me how to play games. At the age of 2 in 2009, why did I say it like that? In 2009, I had my tonsils removed, and at the age of 2, I started playing the game Minecraft. I was 2, I remember those memories back then, and I was playing the first versions of Minecraft. This was like in August of that year, so I didn't start playing day 1 of Minecraft, but I still played like very, very early into the days of Minecraft. I have a long memory with Minecraft. That's why I will make intermittent Minecraft videos. But that's not the influential game, because that part of my gaming career I call the really random era. I went from video game to video game, constantly playing them, not getting obsessed with one of them. I wasn't even really obsessed with Minecraft at the time. But then I call this my this is a game I like era. This is where I got really into Minecraft. I used to play almost every day on my Xbox 360, and then went to Xbox One on my Xbox One, and then went to Bedrock Edition, and then now I mainly play Java. But no, another game arose in that time in 2013, after my dad was someone who played the original Half-Life 2 mod, but I didn't ever play it. I sat down and decided to watch him play this, and then I asked to play it. I loved the Stanley Parable, and I would basically obsess with it for the rest of my life, because I'm not done obsessing over it. It is genuinely one of my favorite games, and everyone that plays it agrees, because it is a good game. I'm in the era of my gaming career I like to consider the me era. Instead of playing games that I think are popular, like I used to do for a couple years, like Fortnite, I would just I actually used to play Fortnite, but I now just play the games I love. Continuing on with the Stanley Parable original mod.
Stanley decided to go to the staff lounge to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others.
Is
So
Stanley
the thought
short?
of total solitude was terrifying to him.
Hold on, what is going on? Why is Stanley so short here? Hey, Stanley, why are you so short today, Stanley? Stanley! Stanley! Like, paying attention to all this in the modern game, this is actually much more open. There's like open desks here instead of just it being a hallway.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm actually gonna follow him for this first one because it's my first experience with this game. The details in it. It's just a Half-Life 2 mod I got working separately. I will put the tutorial on how to get this running on Linux. Because I daily drive Linux now. I'm not going to be one of those guys, but like literally the first tutorial I found was for Linux, which helped a lot because I didn't have to go digging. I was originally trying to like do this on my own, but also like a lot of those videos I said it's taking longer than I thought for this big project. I was brainstorming this until like a week ago. I wanted to do this like solidly a week ago.
As Stanley entered the lounge, he was horrified to find not a single person here. He decided he would walk up to see his boss, hoping that he would find an answer there.
No way, no one's in this. Why would anyone want to be in this lounge? Yeah, no, the lounge in the actual game is so much better than this.
Coming to
yes.
the staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Not that much up. Wow. Okay.
Entering his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. It was at this point that he began to feel dizzy.
I can't do
and a
that
little
yet.
sick, and even thought he might pass out when suddenly he noticed a keypad next to the filing cabinet in the corner of his boss's office.
I wonder
Stanley
which
had
part
never
is going to
seen this
move.
panel before, and had no
Shut up, narrator.
idea what combination of numbers would produce any result. In fact, only Stanley's boss knew this, since the panel withheld access to the boss's greatest, darkest secret. And so he had assigned the keypad a combination that only he could possibly know. The number of his freshman dorm number in college. 1957.
Oh!
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Oh yeah, E.
Yet incredibly,
It's different in this game. It's 2845 in the Stanley Parable. The mod is completely different. Most of Kevin Brighting's actual voice lines here are also different.
Simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
No elevator.
Stanley ventured forth into the newly opened passageway.
Hey guys, which way am I looking? Up or down? Up or down? Which way am I looking? I love all the Half-Life 2.
As he
Still, I've never played Half-Life 2
drew deeper into
or
the
Half-Life.
bowels of the building, Stanley had no idea where he was or what this place held. And just as he began to think he might not discover a thing, he emerged into a long room to find rows and rows of monitors, screens with a number above it. Stanley noticed, however, that these were not random numbers.
You know what? This is actually for some reason more intimidating than the one in the actual game where you're just in a cylindrical room with, I think 1,000+ different monitors.
But the number of employees who worked in the building, his co-workers, even his own number, 427, had a place on the wall. But why a setup so elaborate, he asked. Was this simple surveillance or something even more?
Why does this door look
As if in
painted
answer to
on?
his question, the wall slid open before him, revealing the ultimate truth of the situation.
Again, why does this look like it's a painted on door?
An enormous control panel, Stanley discovered, but not one that controlled simple machinery. Buttons were labeled with emotions. Happy, sad. Levers and knobs controlled actions. Walking, eating, doing work, or watching TV.
Yo, wake up.
Every input on this device monitored not the functions of a machine, but of a human being.
Yo, wake up.
Reality began to sink in. Stanley, like so many other people, reduced to images on a monitor, had been under someone's control, always at the mercy of this machine. Could this have been the only reason employee number 427 was content with his boring job? That a machine...
Again, this is just... Like, if you look at the lore of 432 in the Stanley Parable, this is all an experiment, like, Aperture style. But, to put it out there, I have a theory. The narrator is employee 432 in the Ultra Deluxe and game that came out in 2013. The fact that I solidly think that the narrator is employee number 432. Someone who learned what was going on, escaped before him, and then tried to get Stanley out. Even with all that, I needed to create a person for decision. It could have been a friend he sent here, or someone else. Like, it's weird.
Had altered his emotions to accept it blindly. He began to feel an unbridled rage, and at the peak of his anger, something happened. A spark. Stanley looked up and saw the generator overhead, still providing some small amount of power to the machine, keeping it alive. And knowing that this generator was all that kept the controls running, Stanley moved to the ladder in the back of the room and began to climb
yes.
towards the rungs.
Ladder that just was already there. Also, hey, wake up. Stanley can walk on ladders now. way?
The higher Stanley climbed, the closer
Oh
he
yeah,
felt
tell
to
me. There's
freedom,
gotta be ending for
the
going through
further
this
from
way,
the
isn't there? I actually have no clue how many endings are in this game. I'll actually be back here though because engaged generator or disabled generator or something. Yo, did we do it?
Blackness, power gone, all alone. And then...
Oh.
As he
Oh.
stepped through the door
Okay.
into the fresh outside air, a feeling of liberation rushed through Stanley's body. He had seen power, he had seen enslavement, and he had destroyed it. The underling was in control now. He had found his leading role. Stanley never discovered why everyone had gone missing, nor how and when he had come under the machine's control. But it didn't upset him terribly, because he knew that this was how things were meant to happen. All he felt was a delight unlike any he had ever known before. Never again would he follow someone else's orders without question. Never again would anyone tell Stanley where to go, what to do, or how to feel. No more bosses, no more instructions on a screen. Stanley decides for himself now.
Hell yeah, Stanley, go
And he
slay and be
stepped out into the
self-employed.
world, and he felt the cool breeze upon his skin, and Stanley was happy.
Thank you, Doug's brother. Yeah, no, if you did not know this, the Stanley Parable was made by Davey Weirden, brother of Doug Weirden. Doug Weirden is Doug of streaming and YouTube variety. Yo, how do I get out of this? Let's watch the very slow credits without any music, apparently. I'll just add my own music. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Start new game. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. I played the Stanley
decided
Parable
to go
before.
to the staff lounge to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I should probably... Dang it.
As Stanley entered the lounge, he was horrified to find not a single person here.
I'm
He
also
decided
paying
he would
attention.
walk out to see his boss, hoping that he would find an answer there.
Also paying attention for other secrets.
Coming to
That's
a
also
staircase,
another ending.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
1957.
Entering his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of... Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to
He does not get mad in this game.
input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. Stanley ventured forth into the newly opened passageway. As he drew deeper into the bowels of the building,
That was the most
Stanley had no idea where he
anticlimactic
was
woo
or
ever.
what this place held.
I know
And
where
just
I
as he
am.
began to think he might not discover a thing, he emerged into a long room to find rows and rows of monitors, screens with a number above it. Stanley noticed, however, that these were not random numbers, but the number of employees who worked in the building, his co-workers. Even his own number, 427, had a place on the wall. But why a setup so elaborate, he asked. Was this simple surveillance or something even more? And as if in answer to his question,
No, this
the
is
wall
the
slid open
bathroom.
before him, revealing the ultimate truth of the situation. An enormous control panel, Stanley discovered, but not one that controlled simple
Is that
machinery.
the Steam logo? Or
Buttons
part of
were
it
labeled
anyway?
with emotions. Happy, sad. Levers and knobs controlled actions. Walking, eating, doing work, or watching TV. Every input on this device monitored not the functions of a machine, but of a human being. And the reality began to sink in. Stanley, like so many other people, reduced to images on a monitor, had been under someone's control, always at the mercy of this machine. Could this have been the only reason employee number 427 was
Yes.
content with his boring job?
Bonk,
That a
bonk,
machine had altered
bonk,
his emotions to
bonk,
accept
bonk,
it
bonk,
blindly?
bonk, bonk,
He
bonk,
began to feel an unbridled
bonk,
rage,
bonk, bonk,
and
bonk,
at the peak of his anger,
bonk, bonk,
something
bonk,
happened.
bonk, bonk,
A spark.
bonk, bonk, bonk,
Stanley
bonk,
looked
bonk,
up and saw
bonk,
the generator
bonk,
overhead,
bonk, bonk, bonk,
still
bonk,
providing some
bonk,
small amount of
bonk,
power to the
bonk,
machine,
bonk,
keeping it alive.
bonkity bonk,
And
bonk.
knowing that this generator was all that kept the
God,
controls running,
hurry up.
Stanley moved to the
You're
ladder
so
in the back of the
shitting
room
slow,
and began to
narrator.
climb towards the rafters.
I appear I have forgotten how to climb. It appears I have forgotten how to climb.
The higher Stanley
Like
climbed,
all good things.
the closer he felt to freedom, the further from enslavement.
Oh, I forgot to do that. I forgot how to climb, everyone. Yeah, woo! Forgetting how to climb. Nah, bitch, I want control.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
I did.
After it kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself.
You would be
Is that
correct.
what you wanted?
Yes.
Control? Stanley. Stanley. I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine
Why is he so
can
loud?
do. You were meant to let it go. Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you have. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized that he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Oh, let's make it say, 2 minutes.
Yeah, so this is just the
Now,
same as
this is
before.
making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? Go ahead.
This
Play
is
with those
this is the
controls
same.
all you like. The real controls are where I'm sitting. Did you really ever believe you
That's a
had
new
any
voice
power?
line, though.
Did you not think I knew what I was doing? When I erased your co-workers and turned off the machine, I was offering you freedom, an escape. I didn't have to do that. I've run this story many times, and I don't always set you free. Sometimes you just sit there, day after day after day, doing your job forever, and then dying alone. But when I actually give you the freedom to control your own actions, it's not enough. I let you go, and you trapped yourself just the same. You just weren't made to handle this sort of responsibility, I'm afraid. But you know what you were made for? Pushing buttons. You get it now? Oh, I'm enjoying this. Tell you what,
Then I'll push
throw
buttons.
some extra time on the clock just because I'm having so much fun. There we go. You see, I want to watch you for every long second you try to puzzle this out. After all, it should make sense, right? The timer, the nuclear detonation, the mysterious facility, it's all here. This is a video game. Except for one thing there, hero. You've got no weapon, no vehicle. You don't even know where you're going. When you saw that timer, you just instinctively started trying to find an exit, didn't you? In fact, I bet you're still looking for a way out. I bet you're clicking on everything in this room, trying to open doors or vents or something and solve the puzzle. As though this game has a solution, as though it can be won. That timer is not a catalyst to keep things moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. It's the moment when the hero realizes that despite his best efforts, he is powerless to his environment. And then he lets go. He surrenders. And he dies. 30 seconds, Stanley. 30 seconds. Until a boom, and then nothing. No ending to this story, just you dying. I suppose you
Plan
could
B!
have gotten an actual
Plan
ending
B!
if you played along, but that just wouldn't have been your style, would it? Instead, you'll perish knowing that the only
Plan
choice
C!
you made
Jump and
was
throw the
to
laser!
turn on that machine and to start this timer. But you won't be alone, because I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here to watch every second of your inevitable life from the time we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Pretty much the same as in UD and regular. Right. Those are 2 endings done where we
Stanley
go
decided to go
the
to
correct
the start line
path.
to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. When Stanley came to a set of 2 this was not the correct way to the employee lounge, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. So he turned left at the first open door and walked back in the right direction.
Doesn't look like there'll be any endings down that way, like the confusion ending.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
That's
Maybe
the
this
same
is
line.
why everyone had left. No one wanted to be around someone as bad at listening as him. And since he was walking into the middle of nowhere and thus ruining the entire story, Stanley decided that he would punish himself. So when he came to the elevator and the doors opened, he stepped inside and pushed the button to go up.
Let's do a full ignore narrator. Ignore a narrator.
Oh, Stanley. You know, you really aren't going anywhere, and I don't say that deceitfully. I truthfully mean that there isn't a story down here. The story was back up where I told you to go in the first place. Right now, you're just running around looking at empty halls. And frankly, that's perhaps even more infuriating for me. So why don't you throw me a bone, give me a chance, and just let me tell the story I want to tell,
Nope. Free will is free will, motherfucker.
Now listen carefully. This is important. Stanley walked... perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All
I'll
right,
get there
fine,
soon
go
enough.
ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road?
I'm doing every ending, and I'm fucking turning down the narrators. What the fuck happened to him?
chosen, well, don't let me stop you.
Why are you so loud? Oh my goodness.
You see?
This is
It's
better
nothing.
than the
No one's
regular
even
game.
built this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. It's just a bunch of skybox and dev wall textures. That's it. Is this what you were looking for? Was it worth ruining the story I'd written out for you? I put a lot of time into that, and now you... Well, here you are now, just looking at nothing. To think that that's all I needed to make in the first place, just a whole lot of nothing, and you would have been happy. Well, hey, you still need a little something to do. Am I right? Here, let me load up another map. See if there's something in here that'll keep you occupied. Ah, here's one. Let's boot this up. We'll see if you like it.
Isn't this just a Half-Life map?
Well, Stanley, is this any better? I don't know why it would be. This map wasn't even made for you. At least I created a world specifically with you in mind. I wanted to make you a leading man. This one, well, I'm afraid you're on your own.
No, this is just a subway to my work. It's just a subway to the work. What's this way? Absolutely nothing. It's just absolutely nothing that way. What about this way? World out there I can explore? Nope. Oh. Neat. Let's go this way. Let's go! Hippity hoppity hippity yay!
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got his job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That, or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
That's from the broom closet and it all. Okay. Sure, security. You know, I might be out of my depth. Sorry, yeah, since it's a 10-year anniversary video, anyone that's new, I'm very British and Irish comedy because I watch a lot of British and Irish comedy. Yeah, no, I may have been, you know what, let's keep pushing on.
Hold up, Sport. I spent so long talking about you, why don't we just take a break from that and talk about something else for a change? Let's see. Well, according to Wikipedia, more than 90% of the night sharks caught off northeastern Brazil contain mercury concentrations higher than that considered safe by the local government. Now, this is fascinating. Don't you want to know more about the night sharks? Oh, no, of course not.
Night Shark 115 from the original, from 2013 and 2022 when Ultra Deluxe came out. Night Shark 115 is in reference to this.
Isn't it? Well, fine. You haven't listened to me once so far. I can't expect you to turn that around now, can I?
Oh.
Is this the end of the line? I don't suppose this was a particularly fulfilling experience for you, considering not a single art aspect in this map was created with you in mind. But hey, you're a creative kid. I bet you can come up with a... Wait. Hold on. What are you doing?
Oh?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you.
You can.
Write a story without me. You can't do it. You know that.
Oh. What? 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 I'm so confused. I am so confused what's going on. Did I break the game? Why is it... What?
It's sad, I know, but all stories must come to an end. Of course, they say it's the journey that truly matters and not the destination, and I like that idea. To think we might value the paths we walk as much as the places they lead us. Now, I don't know what sort of story you've ciphered out of that world you've made for yourself, but I hope that being the leading man was everything it's cracked up to be. I know it can be a little hard getting around without someone looking over your shoulder, but this is simply the nature of freedom. Besides, I haven't really gone anywhere. Maybe you don't want a guide, but I think I'll always have a place here at the end of every story. I'll step in and wrap things up with a nice piece of dialogue and a reflection on life that makes sense of whatever path you've chosen to walk. And for now, I'm happy to be the destination instead of the journey. But only for now.
What? Why did that specific song start playing?
Stanley decided to go to the staff lounge to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying.
There might be something through a door.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered. This was not the correct way to the employee lounge, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Yeah,
So he turned left at the first open door and walked back in the right direction. And like that, he was back on track.
I was looking for other things. This just means we're going downstairs.
Stanley entered the lounge. He was horrified to find not a single person here. He decided he would walk up to see his boss, hoping that...
Welcome to 10-year... What? That sounded like a fucking horse. Yeah, this is just the 10-year anniversary, baby. This is what's on my channel. If you're new, this is what you're going to expect. Oh, also, for 2026, I'm going to be making and releasing a YouTube video every single day. Literally every day of 2026. For 365 days, there will be a new YouTube channel. New YouTube video for me on my YouTube channel. For 365 days straight next year, I will be posting a video a day. Just to help my channel grow. And down we
Coming to a
go.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, of admitting that he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, was it really worth taking that risk? All because he believed everyone had disappeared? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. Everyone I know simply vanishing out of the blue, there's almost no other explanation for it. And a nagging fear began to creep up in his mind. Questions that had been there all along. he just hadn't put his finger on them yet. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Was he just walking around in circles? Where am I, he thought. And the more he found himself unable to answer these questions, the more questions continued to arise, until he came to the issue that had been slowly boiling until he could ignore it no longer. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Yeah.
Suddenly, every door slammed shut. "No!" Stanley screamed. "I need to get out of here. I need to know that there's something out there. I need to know it's not just all in my head." And he screamed and clutched at his skull as the voice grew harsher and the music in the background rose higher and higher. And then, moments before collapsing to the ground, Stanley clenched his fists and screamed to anyone who might be listening, "I'm not real! I'm not real! Don't believe any of it! None of it's real!" And then everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Very much a quicker basement ending than the games that
Mariella
came
woke up
after.
on a day like any other. She got dressed, went to work, clocked in, clocked
Yo,
out,
Stanley,
and then she walked
good?
home. But her walk on this day was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Moments after seeing him, she would turn, run to the nearest police station, and call for an ambulance. But for just a few brief seconds, she merely stood there, unable to move. The tragedy was not the death of a single person. It was that she would never know this man's story, never hear in his own words what had happened to him, or what he believed had happened to him. For to know these things would be to exist inside the head of himself. All she could do was learn from the distance. But Mariella had places to be and people to meet her there before her. She was incredibly
I think we very well have. I think at some point I'm gonna have to just look up a guide. But like, that has to be an ending, right?
Stanley decided to go to the staff lounge to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
That has to be another ending, right? Huh.
When Stanley came to a set of two
I think
open doors,
we've so far
he
gotten
entered the
everything
door
over
on his
there.
left. This was not the correct way to the employee lounge, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. So he turned left at the first open door and walked back in the right direction.
We're
Stanley
going up
was so
this
bad
time.
at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Maybe this is why everyone had left. No one wanted to be around someone as bad at listening as him. And since he was walking into the middle of nowhere and thus ruining the entire story, Stanley decided that he would punish himself. So when he came to the elevator and the doors opened, he stepped inside and pushed the button to go up.
Cool. What's up? Why is it taking a long time? Ah. Narrator, you
It
there?
almost perplexed Stanley that he had actually gone and stepped into this metal trap. After all, it should have been no surprise that this thing would lead him to his death. But he thought to himself, this is simply the price to pay for ruining a perfectly good story. So he resigned and willingly accepted his fate, the inevitable end toward which he had spent so long stumbling. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator as he sent his
There
subject
she
down the
is.
conveyor belt and into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
There it is. Anything else? Oh, no, it doesn't look like it.
It's a shame, then, that for all his work, it was such a meaningless victory for the narrator. Did he really think he would accomplish anything by murdering this disposable vessel?
What weird-ass part of the office are we in? Sure, buddy, this is not a normal part of the office.
Every possible choice Stanley could make had been designed for him long before he ever set foot here. The narrator wanted to kill him. Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start.
Fun fact, I got stuck in that.
Him long before he ever
Got
set
stuck
foot
in
here.
that.
The narrator wanted to kill him. Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start. There's no salvation for either of these two, I'm afraid. The narrator had as little power over Stanley as Stanley did over the paths that he walked.
Damn.
But listen to me. This story is not over. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now, and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Damn. Damn. New game. Alright, we only got a couple more endings.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor next to his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee... Stanley decided to go to the staff lounge to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself, and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the employee lounge, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. So he turned left at the first open door and walked back in the right direction. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Maybe this is why everyone had left. No one wanted to be around someone as bad at listening as him. And since he was walking into the middle of nowhere and thus ruining the entire story, Stanley decided that he would punish himself. So when he came to the elevator and the doors opened, he stepped inside and pushed the button to go up. Oh, Stanley. You know, you really aren't going anywhere, and I don't say that deceitfully. I truthfully mean that there isn't a story down here. The story was back up where I told you to go in the first place. Right now, you're just running around looking at empty halls. And frankly, that's perhaps even more infuriating for me. So why don't you throw me a bone, give me a chance, and just let me tell the story I want to tell,
Sure, buddy.
Now listen carefully. This is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Ow.
Good, good. Now, if you don't mind, there's something I'd like to show you. But to do that, I think it would be best for us to start from the beginning. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. His job pushing buttons demanded little of him, so there was not much of himself to give, and in this way, Stanley's job felt less and less like his every day. But if buttons need pushing one day, it means they'll need pushing the next and then the next. So without question or judgment, Stanley continued to do what the screen told him. One keystroke flowed into another keystroke, flowed into his ride home, flowed into dinner, flowed into waking up, flowed into going to work, and here he was again. Stanley was typing out a complete sentence that said absolutely nothing at all. If in reality no one ever actually disappeared from the office, and Stanley never got the opportunity to make a decision, to choose which path he wanted to take, would his life still have any meaning? Perhaps when we long for something deeply enough, these hopes and fantasies become so strong in our minds that we truly believe that we're there, controlling that person and living that adventure. To manipulate your own thoughts and emotions might mean freedom from a self-imposed prison, but these delusions can be fatal to those who can't tell.
Hey, you want some beers?
Asked, if that door never opened, if I'll never be able to walk away from those people and from these buttons, is this life still worth experiencing?
I will not question anything.
Happy? Stanley answered this question by pushing a button. Then he pushed a button.
No, thank you.
And then he pushed a button. Then he pushed a button. Then he pushed a button.
That room doesn't make sense to me. That room doesn't make sense to me. Well. 10 years. Can you believe it? 10 whole years. Going forward, my channel will look different in many ways, shapes, or forms. To start off with, the plan for 2026, since this has been a slower year for me, my plan for 2026 is to release a video every day. That'll be 365 videos. If I can't make a video, I will create a YouTube post about it. But my goal is to get a video made and uploaded in a day. This will be to help grow my channel. And moving forward, 2027, or maybe if I change my mind like in the last month or two of 2026, to start editing videos on my channel. But my first goal is to get more subscribers, to grow this into a job. I don't want to be someone who has to deal with the stress of a 9-to-5. 9-to-5s are harder than content creation, and I don't know why people debate that. 9-to-5s are the hardest thing ever. I don't want to have to ever be in a place where I have to do that. I want to do what I'm passionate for, which is playing video games to an audience and making video games. But without further ado, myself, will talk to you later in the next half of this video. To speak of another influential game from 10 years of my YouTube career, this is a game called 33 Flights of Lovin', a game that Stanley himself played 12 years ago. I am here today to show you it. But this is a teaser for what you'll get in a future video. Because I will see you in the future. This has been my own 10-year anniversary of this YouTube channel. To another 10 years we go, forward and onward, to make a YouTube video every day of 2026, and release one every day, to get 365 new videos out, to build and grow as a channel. The videos will be shorter than the ones I am currently making, but my overall goal shall not change at all. It's been a nice 10 years so far. Cheers to the next. Goodbye.